Nasrallah. His wife and his 3 small children are inside. The Israeli Defense Force says that their assignment is to sweep the area for booby traps and to uncover tunnels that might be used by the Palestinian resistance. The people living in Rafah have reason to think otherwise. They fear that this is another home demolition. The border town of Rafah has seen thousands of homes destroyed in the previous months as the IDF works to clear a security zone around the border. Every other structure in this area has already been knocked down. This house stands alone in a sea of rubble.
Every day hearing gunshots. I cannot sleep, you know. I'm thinking, wait, sound. I open, see near my house what happened. Prepare yourself like this, open the door, notice everything. I don't know. Maybe I will die tomorrow. Maybe my daughter, my son.
8 members of a group known as the International Solidarity Movement have positioned themselves in front of the house in an attempt to obstruct the bulldozer's movements.
We are international, and we are unarmed. We are human rights observers. We are going to be staying here, and we will be knowing what you do. And if you shoot at this house, you will endanger the lives of internationals and innocent women and children, and the world will know.
Just after 3 o'clock, warning shots are fired from the tank, and then shot grenades and tear gas. But the group of internationalists continue their protest.
Please stop shooting, and I wish that you may learn to love your neighbors.
By 3:30, the work had come to a halt, and eventually the bulldozers and tanks began to withdraw toward the border. Sometime before 5 o'clock, the bulldozers are ordered to return to the area and to complete the work. The internationals believe that the house is about to be destroyed. They know that small children are inside. Rachel CORRIE is one of the international protesters in the area. She's been living in the house of Dr. Nasrallah and his family since leaving her home in Olympia, Washington 7 weeks earlier. And now, she is rushing to position herself between the bulldozer and the house. Who is Rachel CORRIE? What was she doing in this small Palestinian border town? And why would she risk her own life to protect a family she had known for less than 2 months?
In the summer, the rushes grow so tall you can hide in them and be completely invisible. This is where I came from, tunnels through rushes. I could spend all the light hours of all the days in tunnels through rushes in the middle of the estuary, in the mouth of Perry Creek. This is where I came from, and this is where I would have liked to stay. Sunburned and hidden and close to water, making up whole pretend histories about shipwrecks and Swiss Family Robinson.
Rachel was our youngest child. We have 3 kids, and she was the baby. We live at the very, at the tip of Puget Sound and on a little stream, and she writes about the rushes in the water, which in the springtime, they start from nothing and they grow up, and she talks about wanting to hide in those rushes. That's where she would like to have stayed, sunburned, in the rushes. But, of course, life drew her in other directions.
Rachel became, after 9/11, like all of us, she was very much moved by that. But I think after the first few weeks of sort of outrage and wondering what happened to our world, she decided to become a peace activist with that.
She wanted to connect with people and engage them around the question of, why would someone hate us? How could someone see us, Americans, as the enemy?
There were members of the International Solidarity Movement who had been in the West Bank, and also one of her friends to Gaza and Rafah. And so she started to learn about that. And I think she became convinced that the Israeli-Palestine conflict was really the sore point of the whole Middle East. It's the crux of where some of this poison goes out into the world. Rachel dug a little bit deeper in that, found, I think, that Palestinians are often forgotten in that narrative, and that one of the most forgotten places among that forgotten spot is Rafah at the very southern tip. It's a very conservative Muslim community.
Rafah in itself is a community on the border strip and with Egypt, and that border strip has had over 1,000 homes, Palestinian homes, demolished on it, and that has affected that community profoundly. Many people that were made homeless for the second or third time, having been refugees in the past by those demolitions. It's a community that's very traumatized by those experiences, and it's a community that is largely made up of children. I think almost half of the population is children under the age of 18. People don't have access to even clean drinking water. They don't have the ability to travel from Gaza to the West Bank to visit their families. They don't have the ability to even get paid to do their job anymore because there's no economic structure in place anymore. There's no money. These are basic human rights that are being taken away.
She finally decided that she needed to go and see for herself, as she put it, who's on the other end and what the other end of our tax dollars that is used for military. Rachel was 23 when she decided to do this, and so she's not asking for permission. It wasn't something that we were real excited about her doing. On the other hand, you can't ask your child to be something less than what they can be.
I know how much it just meant to her as a human being and as the human being she was coming to be, to find meaning in her life, to find something that seemed really important to work on. And I think she recognized that sometimes if you're able to, you do need to pick yourself up and to go and see for yourself what is happening.
So in the end, you kind of have to support it, and we did.
Rachel's plan was to travel to Gaza to initiate a sister city program between her hometown of Olympia and the Palestinian city of Rafah. On January 22nd, she arrived in East Jerusalem and began a 2-day training course at the West Bank headquarters of the International Solidarity Movement. 5 days later, she would travel with another ISM member across a border checkpoint and into Gaza.
The people there continuously are exposed to injury, death, detention, and all kind of hard living situation there. So this space is the space that Rachel CORRIE was transferred from this very nice environment into that very miserable environment. And this is the big shift in life. Like, you would have in your mind two very contrast picture of a green and picture of a black. And then you would start make comparison between these things. And then you would start analyze and asking very big questions, why we have this big contrast.
Rachel CORRIE arrived in Rafah, a small town on the southernmost edge of Gaza, along the border known by the IDF as Philadelphia Road, or the Pink Line.